Talk about it all here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button.
You know, one thing about Jaden that I've tried to talk to him about is tightening his chin strap. Because he doesn't tighten it, so every time he gets hit, it looks like his helmet's all messed up. And it's like, oh, God, he just got rocked.
For the win! Caught! It's good! LSU does it!
After fucking Saturday night in Tiger Stadium, boys. Are you kidding me?
Well, LSU fan came stuck his spike in my booty.
That motherfucker hard!
Fan brought his 2 grandkids by and literally was just 30 seconds. Just wanted to say thank you for the team and the season and what you did and how much it means to everybody here is truly what makes LSU special.
Coach Kelly, we're official. Finally. I'm
Get a
telling you.
chance to meet you.
Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. It's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification. We about to go live. We got all your favorite guests. We got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show.
And you
Come have a
started
good time.
tearing up answering the question, and I thought, my God, if Chica is offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we open up the phone lines. Come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah.
Let's go! Let's go! All right. Nice start. Big day. Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you. Thanks. Thank you for the time.
We got most of the time to make some moves. All the smoke, we don't pick and choose. I'm here now.
Good morning and welcome in here on this Tuesday morning as we are rolling through the week. We've got some LSU baseball tonight as they take on McNeese back in Alec Box Stadium. Anissa Morrow gets drafted last night, 7th overall in the WNBA draft to the Connecticut Sun. Haley Van Lith goes 11th to the Chicago Sky, getting reunited with Angel Reese from their time at LSU. LSU football made a few additions and hires to their staff as they added a personnel staffer from Ole Miss, Jay Shaderi, who is the associate, and he will be the associate director of player personnel. And
Thieves
so
in the night.
This is obviously a little Austin Thomas move, a guy that he had a relationship with and worked with at Ole Miss. He goes around and thieves him from the Rebels staff yesterday. And then they also add Eric Held, the Louisiana High School Coaches Association director. And he was also a longtime coach, and he will head high school relations for the program, which obviously he's somebody that has a relationship with all the high school coaches because, you know, as someone that's a part of the LHSCA, every single email I get is from Eric Held. It's got signed and signature by when we were at the state championship games in Lake Charles. He came up, introduced himself. We were like, "You're the guy from the emails," you know. So he's got relationships with all the coaches around the state. So a nice hire there as well for LSU. But yeah, I mean that's essentially the news from yesterday. Also for the Pelicans, they fired David Griffin officially yesterday morning, and then very quickly turn around and it's announced that they have a front runner and that a deal is expected to be done soon with a guy like with Joe Dumars, whose name was thrown out there pretty early on yesterday. Lance James ready to hear Christian rage about the Saints, as were we. Christian is not here because he is at LSU football media availability today for, I think this is the final week of spring practices. So he's out
2 left
at spring practice today, and he will have all the coverage and the video from that. He'll get that sent back over. I'll have that put up right when the show ends this morning, so y'all can sit back and watch a little bit of practice. The second to last practice of LSU's spring session as they roll into the remainder of the off season ahead of their first game against Clemson on August 30th. So that's the news. Just to start off with LSU football, obviously Austin Thomas is somebody that LSU brought back into the fold to be the general manager and to work on the roster managing, which is such an important role in today's day and age, in today's college sports, is to have somebody dedicated to focusing on building a roster, dealing with the NIL, dealing with all of the transfer portal, all of these new wrinkles to college athletics. That's what a general manager's job is to do, is to handle all of those things. And obviously Austin Thomas is somebody that's one of the best at it. And this feels like this is Austin Thomas going out saying, hey, this is a guy that's worked with me, is going to do a good job. And they went out and they brought him in. And if it's Austin Thomas's move and he's making the decision, I trust him because he's done a great job. Obviously, if you just look at this past offseason and the change, obviously in the mindset, but also the success they had in the portal and with the NIL funds and all of those things, I think a good bit of that can be attributed to Austin Thomas and his work. And if he's going out and making a move and bringing somebody in, I trust him. And so, in my opinion, it can never hurt to bring more people in that focus on this area of your program, because it's always changing, always, it's always on the rise, on the shakeup. You never really know what's next and how to handle things. You want people that are dedicated and focused on handling your roster, taking care of your NIL and the transfer portal and all of those things. It never hurts to have more eyes there. And then the addition of Eric Held. This is obviously somebody who has a relationship with high school coaches because he was the director of the Louisiana High School Coaches Association. And so for him to come in as the director of high school relations, it really, you couldn't have really picked somebody better when it's talking about you want high school relations with high schools in the state of Louisiana. You go get the guy that's headed up the Coaches Association. He's somebody that's sending out every email to all the coaches around the state. He's having constant contact with coaches around the state. When they have questions, this is who they're this is somebody that has relationships with almost every single coach in the state of Louisiana. And I think that he also was a high school coach at St. Mary's in Natchitoches, St. Michael's here in Baton Rouge, and made playoffs, and he did so much with Catholic as well, and then now he ended up being the director of the LHSCA, and now he's headed to LSU. Lloyd, do you have any specific feelings on these moves?
Well, you're starting to see, as much as Brian Kelly, what he brought in, what has changed, correct? You saw him brought in, he tried to bring in his entire staff from Notre Dame.
Right.
And he tried to do it his way, where it felt like he could do clean house, bring all my people in, and you're starting to see, slowly but surely, the Scott Woodward effect of who do you think had a relationship with Austin Thomas? Was it Brian Kelly or was it Scott Woodward?
Scott Woodward.
It was Scott Woodward. And so you're starting to see the people that are being put in place from the initial BK regime and now what has kind of the invisible hand moving around him to be able to help him kind of get LSU to where it's supposed to be, right? Because I think Brian Kelly came here, didn't really know what to expect, thought he could do it a certain way, and quickly found out that LSU football, Baton Rouge, it's a different kind of animal. And so you want people that you can surround yourself with that can help you kind of get to where you need to go, whether it be in recruiting, now in the NIL world, and certainly by adding more staffers when you have an Austin Thomas in place, because you're seeing the NIL start to move even more rapidly in a direction that I don't think people understand where it's going to go and what can happen, because with the Tennessee quarterback situation, obviously it is ever-changing where people want to hold out, and there's Mario Cristobal who talked about you're getting quotes from head coaches about this now who said if they want to play holdout, they might as well play get out. And so you can go ahead and do it that way if you like, but you're going to have to work with these athletes and being able to have a better relationship, or you can play get out. There's going to go one of two ways.
Yeah, it's all roster management. Like that's the
name of the game.
This new era of college sports. It's about when we were talking about LSU men's basketball. Last week they added their general manager, and it was a good move because you need somebody dedicated to managing your roster, to handling all of these different pieces that go into having your whatever number of players on your team, having that all organized, ready to go, and being prepared for the offseason and all of those things that are to change. Because like Lloyd said, there's a new wrinkle with this Nico holdout, and if that picks up steam and other players try to do that, and this roller coaster and snowball that continues to grow, you want people to be in that position at LSU
and
to make sure your roster is managed.
Brian Kelly talking about the latest NIL fiasco when he was at his presser.
Let's hear it.
Well, I think we're in this period of adjustment, right? I mean, I think we've got a settlement that is in the throes of being decided. The House settlement is coming close. That will, bring us most likely some form of revenue sharing. I think there's changes coming in NIL. I think this is the first version of corrections, maybe. I think that we're going to see a lot of this. This was a new world, and I think we're going to navigate it the best that we can. But I think that there's going to be other situations that come, and we're just going to have to, do the best we can. I think there's going to be better information out there that will allow people to look at comps for positions and say, that makes sense, that doesn't make sense, and it'll allow us to navigate this a lot more reasonably moving forward, for good or bad. And people can make decisions. If you want to pay X, then that's what you can do. But I think this is the natural course that would happen when there weren't many guidelines out there. And moving forward, I think with the House settlement and with a potentially a clearinghouse for NIL, I think we'll see a better place as we continue to move forward.
Yeah, I mean that's Coach acknowledging the changes that are happening and the changes that are going to come, because things are going to continue to change. This NIL world, I think, has changed each offseason. There's been a new wrinkle, a new storyline, a new way things have been handled that coaches and programs have had to adapt and adjust and find a way to be successful. And with LSU, they've got Austin Thomas, and they're bringing in these additional pieces into this area where they have a guy like J.R. Belton, who is he's in charge of recruiting, the director of football recruiting. And then Donovan Tate was promoted to fill his former role. And now you bring in a guy like Shadari to come in and work as the associate director of player personnel. The associate director of player personnel is essentially a roster management position. Player personnel. Your focus is helping manage the roster, along with your general manager y'all are put in the position to focus on these changes, what's coming, how can we adapt, roll with the punches, what's the rulings coming forward, all of these different things that are having to be managed. You want the right pieces in the position, and I think Austin Thomas was the perfect step in that direction, and anyone he brings in to work with him, just kind of have to trust. And I agree with Lloyd that these past 2 off seasons have had a very, very much have had a Scott Woodward feel to them. You know, these pieces that have been brought in, like a Blake Baker and a Corey Raymond, and even a Bo Davis at that point, and then a Kyle Williams to replace him, bringing Austin Thomas back, and so on and so forth.
Corey
Eric
Raymond.
Held, like all of these moves. These aren't guys that Brian Kelly had, you know, this deep-rooted, strong relationship with
Tried that
beforehand.
already.
You know, like a Polian. Instead, these are guys that are more associated with the state of Louisiana, the Louisiana State University, LSU, the whole deal. Those are the guys you've brought in and continued to bring in to find success in this new era, this new day and age in sports.
Especially with revenue sharing coming up, like you're seeing his right-hand woman got cut. Like you see Beth Rex leave the staff, Jazz Smith, who was brought in, director of football operations since Kelly was hired in 2022, gone. Like you're seeing, because now that you're having to split payment or expected to split payment with the whatever payment that you would have to give to your football staff, and that's why we talked about this whenever like kind of the revenue sharing opportunity came up and it became like a real thing that LSU gave out a 10-year, $100 million contract, and you start looking around going, wait, some of that money is going to have to go to the players now.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see that kind of shift in operations, how people are taking on more roles, whether it be J.R. Belton or promoting people or cutting people. You saw Jacoby Stevens leave, Nick Brissett leave, and other people are having to pick up that slack because some of that money has to be allocated to the players now. So other people have to pick up kind of responsibilities so you can have money allocated to paying your roster. And especially with the Nico situation, LSU will be in that spot at some point. Like you probably have seen, this is just the most public version of it. A lot of this happens behind closed doors where people negotiate. We saw the Sage Ryan thing play out in real time with LSU where he hits the portal and comes back. John Emery hits the portal and comes back. Like those are conversations that, what do you think they were circled around? Playing time and probably money. And if you're Sage Ryan, you look around and you go, oh, you want me to cross-train? You want me to play safety and corner? I'd like to get paid like it. And LSU was in a spot where they had to pay him. Now you look what they did in the portal and they go ahead, go to Ole Miss. That's fine. So you can negotiate both ways, but it's something that I don't think people like with college football. And I think everybody's in the camp of, I'd love to see the players get paid, right? Like I think the old school situation was, like there's the old heads that were like, well, they're getting a scholarship, they're getting meals, they're getting books. Like nobody gives a fuck about any of that. Like they want money. And they're putting together, which is probably the second most popular sport in America at this point in college football. And so they deserve to be compensated in that manner. And now you're just having to see negotiations and people kind of tried to navigate this whole thing because of how broken the system was. Now there's nothing in place to fix it. And so it's just a rampant permeation of how do we navigate this, and you have people in you have fathers and sons' ears, you have agents that you don't know who they are telling you what to do. Like Nico being able to say, I'm not going to play before a college football playoff game whenever you worked your entire, you have people that just want to play football. Like they want to win, and then you have a quarterback and his dad going, I think I'll sit out. And it's like, don't ruin the sport, because college football is held in this other, there still is professional football. And then there's still pageantry and everything that comes with college football that people love it for. That's why I'm a fan of college football. I like the LSU brand. I like what it means. And now when you see this happen at Tennessee, you're like, damn, it's coming professionalized in a way that kind of makes it feel like it would be easy to throw your hands up at it and be like, I don't care. But that will never happen. We talked about this the other day when we were saying, what could happen to LSU football to make us not be a fan of it anymore? We couldn't come up with a thing. And no, I'd still care. And when you see, the Derek Carr situation or how the Saints or the Pelicans are being managed, you're like, ugh, it's easy to turn a blind eye to it. You're like, I don't really care that much about it. At LSU, it would take a lot But I would imagine that there's some Tennessee fans going, what are we doing?
Right.
Like, what am I cheering for?
Yeah, no. I mean, and imagine Nico is still at Tennessee, doesn't leave, and these things come out. How do you have any respect or love for your quarterback as a fan? What about as a teammate?
Right.
Like, a lot of the people on these teams love, like, that's the thing we love about LSU is there's guys on the team that you can tell they love the university and the brand and the state and all those things as much as the fans.
Right.
Think about the way they would feel if their quarterback is trying to sit out for some extra money instead of putting on that uniform and going out to war with them.
In a playoff game.
Like, just.
And then he goes, this story comes out, and he goes 14 for 31 for 104 yards. Like, did you fucking throw the game? Like, you can have that conversation. Like, bro, you didn't care.
Like, it's just, it really is embarrassing for the game. We will have Wilson Alexander on this morning at 8:15 to talk about some of his recent rivals. We'll talk about the spring game with him as well, and just kind of the state of LSU football as it sits today. But we still have this cut up from Brian Kelly. Thank you, Christian, for finally getting a press conference cut up. And so this is Brian Kelly talking about the portal and player development, and then we'll roll into more of him talking about what was seen on Saturday.
Well, we've developed our players. I think this is partly, you have to have player development along with bringing in guys in the portal. Remember now, the development of this program was that we needed the portal because they needed to come in and play for us. We were so short on scholarship players. That's not a great place to be. So if everybody you bring into the portal has to come in and play for you, I can put a great spin on it and tell you we're going to win the national championship, but I think we all knew that that's not a great place to be. You want to be in a position where you bring in portal players to building off of what you already have. And that's why this roster is the best roster we've had, because we're building both depth within our football team and we're bringing in veteran players. So that mix is the best mix that we've had.
About roster management, that's the crux of it right there. Going out, getting pieces in the portal while still understanding what you have on your roster and the coaches having to develop that. But from a roster management standpoint, those are the two key pieces. Knowing what you have, what you want to keep, knowing what you need to go get, and who you can go get. And that's what these people put in these roles, like player personnel. That's their job. And then it's up to the coaches to go out there and make it happen.
You're starting to see it being built like NFL teams.
Yes.
Like, that's part of what's happening. And I saw Carl Dunn say, like, the cow's past the pasture at this point. Like,
yes.
I don't know if you can put the hay back in the barn.
Right.
Pandora already left the box.
Yeah,
you can't put it back in.
You can't put it back in.
And so at some point they do. And I think a lot of coaches are leaning on this rev share to be the answer for how this thing kind of gets fixed in a way. But let's not forget that college football has always been a little dirty. And so whenever it gets to, okay, you have revenue sharing, and this is the right way to do it, you create a separate entity to make sure you have arbitration to see if you're getting paid this much. It has to be a fair value deal for what are you getting paid for. You can't get paid $2.2 billion. And that's why Nico's doing it now.
Right.
It's before the clearinghouse or the rev share gets put into play, that this is your last chance to kind of grab some money. And there's a world where, first of all, you left Tennessee out to dry. Like, they compensated you fairly well for what you were offered.
Yeah, well,
I mean, this was out of high school. He got this deal done.
Coming out of high school, this was the biggest report of them all. Was Nico $8 million? Like, it was the full thing. Like, you were getting paid up front.
It was a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
Coming out of high school. And there is a world where you see some college coaches, and I see people saying Belichick, like, that makes sense. North Carolina, like, has found this newfound passion for college football when they put all of this money and resources into hiring Bill Belichick. I think he has his girlfriend on social media. That's wild. But that's one school that you could see, like, all right, if we're going to go all in, I need a quarterback. What Bill Belichick needs a quarterback. We've seen it.
Yeah.
But there's also a world where everybody looks at Nico and goes, I'm good. Then what do you do?
Yeah, well, is this worth the
headache,
the stress we're gonna have to deal with, the PR perception, like the way your program is going to look, the way your program is going to be viewed going forward by like everyone that's watching is going to be watching to see your program and your quarterback fail because of the way he's handled things. I did see yesterday that I think North Carolina's out of the race because the price was too high. And the South Alabama quarterback, Gio Lopez, entered, and he's kind of the front runner to be there. So, I mean, it's just Nico could be coming out of this in
not playing college
football. Like, it's just it's a sad moment for the kid because he's still a kid.
Well, you haven't even heard from him.
He's not the one that's making these moves. Like, he wanted to play in the college football playoff game. Like, he didn't want to pass up on that opportunity that he'd probably been dreaming about since he was a kid. I'm sure he wanted to go out to practice and be out there with other things are being managed for him that are going to hurt him in the long run.
Yeah, you said like the schools that are in on him. If it's not North Carolina, who apparently is out of the sweepstakes, like you see Tulane pop up, and it's Tulane just lost their quarterback to the portal because they didn't pay. So now they're going to double down and pay more for Nico, and for Nico to have to go into a locker room after this whole fiasco, like good luck winning them over.
Yeah,
because it's just a headache.
Well, and as much as I respect Tulane, you're playing at Tennessee.
You were just in the college football playoff.
You're just in the college football. You're in the one of the two premier conferences in the sport are the SEC and the Big Ten. You're in one. You can't go back to the SEC, so now you have to find some other option that's not going to be the same level of football. And so now it's just he could I would highly doubt that he's not going to be on a roster. It's just not going to be for the amount of money he expected. And I don't think it's even going to be for the amount of money he was getting at Tennessee. He's going to take a pay cut wherever he goes. Like, if the reports are Tulane, they're not going to pay him as much as Tennessee was paying him because Darian Mensah just went into the portal and went to Duke because they paid more.
I mean, reportedly was making $2.5 million already.
Like,
what more?
That's very comfortable for a 19-year-old college quarterback. In addition to, you can make all this other money on these other brand deals if you go out there and play well. But now you're going to have to take a pay cut to play football somewhere else. Whether it is a Power 4 school or one of the other 3 Power 4 conferences, whether it's a group of 5 or you just got to find somewhere to play football. But wherever it is, you're not going to make $2.5 million. There's a handful of schools that can pay that much. And coming out of the into the spring window, schools that are wanting to pay that much, I don't see him getting $2.5 million somewhere else. Glimmer, it almost kind of feels like the system is ready to make an example out of him. Yeah,
that's good.
That's what it is.
I really do feel like this could be a tipping point because if, like, you see, like I just said, Mario Cristobal going, he could play get out. Like, some of these coaches are going to look around and go, we're not operating this way. And if they all form a bit of a coup against and make an example of one player, it would suck for Nico because, I mean, he's talented and should be playing football somewhere. But at some point, if you start negotiating like this, they have the choice to just say no. And
right.
While there is, like, if somebody's going to tip the scale, and this could be the tipping point of the scale where they go, yeah, good luck. We're all going to say no. Because is he that good? I don't know. 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
I mean, he's very talented. He's got all the tools.
Right, but it's not. I mean, who would be the best example of if they actually did want to do a holdout or a transfer portal flip? Like, what's the player in college football that could do that? And you'd be like, oh no, I'll pay whatever.
Arch Manning.
And he won't do it.
No, he's not going to do it.
But
He
if
doesn't
Arch
need to do it.
if Arch did want to, like, yeah, that would be the biggest storyline of
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah,
but he's
no,
the one
it'd
that's
be
done it right
massive.
because he doesn't worry. He's not worried about it.
No, he's like.
I think he'll be fine.
There's multiple ways to handle, like when you're talking about betting on yourself, because that's what some people are associating with what Nico's doing is he's betting on himself. He's going, he knows he's worth more than what he's getting, so he's going to bet on himself to go get that. To me, betting on yourself is what Garrett Nussmeier's done at LSU, saying, why do I need to play this political back and forth financial game when I can just develop, get out there, play in the SEC on one of the premier programs in the sport, and make money? Because Nussmeier's making money.
You're right.
It's close, and it's probably a number close to what Nico was getting.
Like, yeah, I would say he's probably getting 2.
But he earned it, and
you need him.
It's enough money. Now, LSU would be in a tizzy if he did this.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to put yourself in Tennessee's spot and be. I think that people would. I think people already care, but I think people would care a lot more if it happened to you. Obviously,
Yes.
if you saw Nussmeier do this, it would be. But that's where you have to look around the other way and say, "Thank God, like you got the right guy."
Yeah,
because
no,
I mean, he could have, and I'm sure he did use the NFL draft as some version of leverage to be able to get.
But rightfully so.
But he wasn't nearly compensated enough for going into last year, when he was by far going to be your starter, and he wasn't compensated that way. Then you go back to the table and you go, okay, if you're going to be the starting quarterback in the SEC for a team that, without you, I don't know what happens. In LSU, he absolutely could have bent LSU over the barrel, because if you look at all the transfer portal that they brought in, all of the talent that they brought in, you're nothing without Nussmeier.
Yeah, you were building around getting him back.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm fine with using the NFL draft as leverage. If you are good enough to go be a first-round pick in the NFL draft and the conversations about you coming back, use it as leverage. It's like college baseball now with high school prospects. I could go get this $3 million signing bonus. Well, how about we pay you $2 million to come here, or, whatever. Like, it's unbelievable that this is the point that we're at, but it's also so believable because the Pandora's box was opened on what was it, July 1st, 2022? Was that when whenever 2021, whenever it started, like it was all opened up, and this is just the newest wrinkle in what's happening. And I agree with Lloyd and with, I think, Glimmer in the chat, was this to me is the example being set. Like, the coaches, I feel like, are going to handle this in a way that protects their program more than anything else. Rather than going out and getting this quarterback and paying however much money to bring him in, let me protect my program by making a statement to the rest of the country that this isn't how things are going to be handled in college sports. We are truly at a tipping point we're witnessing with our own 2 eyes.
And you have Brian Kelly talking about Garrett Nussmeier and his loyalty, because, this is a conversation piece that's going to continue to come up. But like I said, lucky to have the guy, eventually.
I'm thinking about it because I'm trying to think about the very first conversation. My very first conversation with Garrett was when I got the job. He came in and said, "Coach, I'm a Tiger, and I just want to let you know I'm going to be here." And that was my first conversation with him, because everybody was, some were staying, some were going. It was kind of, up in the air. I think one left, one came back. It was kind of a, uncertain situation. But he was pretty definitive about, I want to be here. And I think we come full circle, and you see that kind of steadfast commitment to being here at LSU, and I think he's going to
Yeah, no, I mean, that's who Garrett Nussmeier is. He is a breath of fresh air in this new portal NIL world. where, yeah, he's getting NIL cash, but never once did he flirt with the portal. And he had probably more opportunity than anyone else in the country to do so. He came in, he got to play as a true freshman. They're going into the next offseason. They bring Jaden Daniels in. Jaden Daniels gets the job for 2 seasons. He could have very well left before Jaden Daniels' Heisman year. Didn't, waited his turn, and now look at him. H-Town Creole in the chat. Y'all are tripping. The only reason Nico, a California kid, went to Tennessee was the money. So now everybody flips out when he wants more. Get your money, Nico. Heupel got bonuses. The unfortunate part right now, H-Town, is the fact that Nico's about to take a pay cut. He got the money. He got paid by Tennessee to go there. He was being taken care of financially. $2.5 million for a 19-year-old college quarterback in Tennessee, which I think, what was it? Cordell said making $2.5 million as a 19-year-old in a tax-free state is lovely. Like, he was in a very good situation. And so I'm not flipping out at Nico, but this has been, you can't say that this hasn't been completely mismanaged. Now, if he goes out there and somebody pays him $3.5 million, $4 million, I'll sit right back here in this chair and say I was wrong. Good job, Nico, for, and his leadership and people around him for playing hardball and going to get more money. I just don't see that happening. I don't know who is sitting right now. If the team that was going to pay the most money for Nico was Tennessee.
They already proved
because
that.
He had the leverage. He had the money. And they didn't pay him the bump. And so if I'm sitting as another program and I'm looking at this situation, the team that he was on didn't pay him $1.5 million more. I'm going to take $4 million out of my NIL bank to pay him to play here?
Dad, let's not get it twisted. Somebody might.
That's what I'm saying. It's possible. I just don't see that happening.
Because you can look around, and this is where it gets so squirrely, is because you can have, like a Bryce Underwood situation, have somebody that has no ties to Michigan except for his girlfriend went to Michigan and wants Michigan to play well. It's like, well, I'm the second richest man in America.
Right. Yeah, Brian Hollingsworth just said in the chat.
How much money does it cost? Like $4 million is nothing to him. $13 million was nothing to him. And that's where college football is going to start being run by people that have no real allocation to the sport other than I have a checkbook. And look, you could see that you saw this coming a mile away. And once LSU got involved and started playing the money game, LSU fans became okay with it. But, I mean, last year was not a far cry from, oh, he's not worth $1 million. He's not worth $1.2 million. Don't pay him. You want somebody that wants to bleed for the school. And it's like, okay, good luck going 6-6. Like, this is where college football is now. And until it gets right, and like I said, if it comes down to when it pay for play, which it is right now, until this ruling comes down, and it will still be pay for play, but at least it'll have some sort of structure and regulation with rev share.
Supposed to. But until that time comes, this is what you're looking at. And LSU will probably be in the spring portal and look at players that they need, whether it be a safety, a defensive lineman. You sneezed at 1.2 and turned your nose up at it whenever you needed a defensive lineman last year. Right now, that's not a problem. You got $1.2 million. Right. Yeah. H-Town, when spring portal opens, teams are trying to win the chip. No, I don't think they're not. Yeah. I'm not saying that a team's not going to go get him. I just don't think he's going to get that $4 million, that bump that he's expecting. And if he does, good for him for the way that it was handled. But I don't foresee that being the situation.
Yeah, Andrew Messina, Saudi blood money will be in college athletics soon if it isn't already. Like, we said that a year ago.
As a joke.
I meant it. Because why not? Like, they're looking to get into sports. You see what they did with Live Golf. You can say whatever you want about it, but they have a functioning golf league now.
Yeah.
Where people, I don't care if people watch or don't watch, people are playing in it. And PGA is trying to negotiate with them and can't. They can't figure it out. They were meeting at Augusta and still trying to talk about how to merge Live Golf and PGA golf. It's like, yeah, the money's too good.
Yeah.
And the PGA can't compete. They had to go with like a second round of funding when the oldest, whitest sport in America, like these people got money.
Yeah.
And they love golf. Society got more.
Yeah.
And what's stopping them from continuing to sports wash their money and become like a viable part of what American society is? You can't do it in the NFL because you have to be owned by an American. Like
Right.
That's the NFL has got the thing kind of figured out to where they're almost impenetrable. College football is ripe for the taking.
Yes. And no one would be the wiser if, one of these programs just had a lump sum of cash and nobody knows where it's from. Well, it's from, some
It doesn't
shell
as long as
corporation.
as long as the check clears.
Right.
They're not going to sneeze at it. And like even if it's not Saudi money, but that's why you see the comeuppance of SMU. Texas A&M has been in this game.
The oil money.
Yeah, like SMU is going to be around for a minute if this is the way that it's going to continue to operate because they got more money than God.
Yeah. So I mean it's going to get messy, but
yeah, and that's what. Yeah.
And that's
That's
honestly,
why Nick Saban left. Oh, this is why Nick Saban left. 'Cause I'm not coaching football anymore. I'm a fundraiser.
Yeah, like the sport has changed astronomically. And the good thing is, as people that we cover LSU, we're fans of LSU, we're getting to sit back and watch this take place at another school and not our own.
Right.
Not our own football program. That's the silver lining in all this is that it's not happening at LSU. It's happening at Tennessee and, wherever else next. Maybe it is. But right now it's Tennessee that's having to deal with it.
And that's why you see LSU continue to add to the staff.
Right. That's why you make these moves. That's why you roster manage.
Because at some point, maybe, Nico could look around and go, what NFL quarterbacks make? You're just as important to the sport at the position. Like maybe 2.5, and maybe I am underpaid. Because you could see these contracts go up, up, and up, and you start scaling it to an NFL contract and go, yeah, I'll go to the open market. It's free agency every year.
Yeah.
It's free agency before the college football playoff starts. Because there's no regulations.
No, not at all. There's no regulations at all. Like, it's only going to get worse until something comes down and stops it.
When are we going to see a trade?
I mean, like, I don't think it's that far off.
Like, I don't know how that would.
I don't know how that would work logistically from the school, like the academic standpoint. But
that doesn't matter anymore.
I'm not saying it. I'm just saying there's
the credits to transfer over.
I'm just saying that's still some litigation they have to go through. Like it still has to be handled and managed. I'm not saying that they won't find a way to do so, but that's still as much as it doesn't matter. And they're not really in class doing their work anyways. They're on a scholarship for a semester out of school. They're registered to that school for that semester. I don't really know how it works to get unregistered and registered somewhere. I don't know all those things, but that's litigation I have to go through. But I wouldn't be surprised if it starts getting tested and figured out. Mark coming in the chat. When I see Nico, I don't see a $4 million QB, just my opinion. What should a Heisman QB warrant if he comes back for another season? Like what would a number be if you're a Heisman winning quarterback?
Yeah, but you saw Cam Ward test the market last year before he was in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Until he wasn't. And God knows how much Miami paid him, and Miami paid again for Carson Beck. Like there's schools out there that are willing to pay for a quote unquote Heisman winner. If you think that you're a quarterback away, I don't know what the number is. How much money do people bring into the school? Like can you put a number on 2019 Joe Burrow?
What?
Like how
Blank
much
check.
how much money do you think that brought into LSU?
Yeah.
Like that's where the negotiation does like make sense as to how my worth is whatever people are willing to pay, but also it's not zero.
Yeah.
You're starting to see people test the market, and Cal's running back just hit the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Like there's players out there, if you feel like you're one away, it might be a $10 million check for a year.
that you'll pay off with a national championship.
And if you want to negotiate it the right way, you probably don't want that number getting out, because that's when the old heads of the college football world are going to you're crowdfunding also. Like Tennessee was taking money out of tickets to go towards
10%.
Yeah, to go towards
Talent
NIL
fee.
to pay Nico.
Yeah, no, a 10% talent fee on top of your ticket payment to keep our quarterback in
Still wasn't enough.
Knoxville, and he left. Glimmer, this is why the timing of the portal window is dumb for football. It allows a guy to walk before a bowl playoff game. The timing doesn't matter. Now the sentiment is, regardless of when the portal opens,
I'm going to hit it.
I'm going to sit out and hit it. Like, whether it's open while I'm in the playoff or it's opening up after.
The portal is open for
The portal's
365 days a
always
year.
open.
You can just threaten
Do
to go.
not contact tag is the representation of the portal's always open.
Yeah.
Anytime someone enters with a do not contact tag means
I've been contacted.
their deal's in place
I'm done.
before they've entered. I like Andrew Messina with a great point in the chat. Could you guys imagine Les Miles and Joe Oliva navigating NIL?
No.
As much as we give BK a hard time for, the things that have gone on over the last 3 years, I am glad to have him and Scott Woodward at the helm of this rather than some of the past situations
Regime.
like an Oliva and Miles, because it would be an absolute mess. I would have no confidence in the ability to operate season in, season out with that group.
Like, I don't think anybody trusts Coach O with money. Like, it would be, you might go get Nico. Like, get him. It does feel like BK, this feels like his arena. For as much as college football is changing, and it feels like there's some coaches that are probably looking around going, I'm going to go to the NFL because this is a headache. Like, BK is kind of like, this is what I do.
Right.
It feels like I'm good at managing a roster. I'm good with having people in place and being able to be a figurehead and run it that way, as opposed to trying to go out and beat the streets and recruit.
Yeah.
I mean, the story is that Dan Lanning is the one that told Tennessee about it. He's like, I'm getting phone calls about Nico being in the portal. And Tennessee's like, I had no clue. And then you have negotiations that goes even farther back to the college football playoff. Like, this thing's a mess.
It's a mess.
And you have to have people like Austin Thomas, and you see
yes.
Josh Udary go onto your staff, because this is how we have to build it also. Like, it's no longer as fundamentally important as recruiting is, especially in the state of Louisiana, and that's why you're building the staff the way that you are. You also need people on the other side of it that say, hey, this is where we're at. You start building your roster out, and you have a big board. And it's just becoming more and more like the NFL. And if that's where it's going, at least you have a plan. LSU was so far behind in the NIL where they tried to do it the normal way. Let's send Livy Dunn to New York City. People already know who Livy Dunn is.
Yeah.
I need to go get Bryce Underwood.
Yeah. I mean, it's
high school recruiting.
100%.
It's the tip of the spear here. We all saw it going this way. Whenever it first started, we were the first. What's to stop them from paying a high school kid?
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it's going to work. It's all about name, image, and likeness.
Off-season number one, Texas A&M gets the number one recruiting class out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't even think they had sniffed the top 10 prior to that. And then all of a sudden they have the highest rated recruiting class ever.
All of a sudden everybody wanted to go gig them?
No.
No,
Nobody
they all left.
wants to.
And then they all leave.
Right, because it wasn't worth getting paid. So, I mean, I'm very glad that it's not us sitting and talking about LSU having
It
to
will
deal
be
with
one
this
day.
situation.
It will be at some point. I mean, this already has happened to LSU. Bryce Underwood.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a tad bit of a different situation, but...
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, this is somebody that was already on your team.
It felt like Bryce Underwood was already on your team.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
But it was close.
Yeah, but you just lost out on a high school recruit. This is a guy who was in your uniform, on your roster, trying to hold you hostage.
Yeah, it just feels like this negotiation is playing out far differently than the Underwood, because it was such a high number that it was, oh my God, and he was a recruit.
Right.
As opposed to, I see what you're saying, because this is, if it's somebody on your team and it's playing so publicly,
yes,
then he becomes obviously enemy of the state from Tennessee's perspective.
Right.
And it's such a national talking point because he's the first one to kind of do it like this.
Yeah. I mean,
But this isn't the first time it's happened. It's just the first time it's been this public.
Right. And it's not the last time it's going to happen. This public.
Yeah, where you have the team that he was on saying, we're good. Like, go.
Yeah.
And that hasn't really happened yet where you've seen a team openly say,
nobody
we're
is
not
bigger than the
negotiating.
program.
Yeah, we're not negotiating with you. It's been, how much money can we raise to keep
right.
him? As opposed to, we don't want you. Get out.
Yeah.
We're playing get out. It's funny that Cristobal said that because he's the one paying for quarterbacks 2 years in a row.
Right. I mean, then the one he
and
just
then Carson
got
Beck got dumped.
Well, he cheated.
Oh.
Scumbag. Welcome to Miami.
And he got his car stolen.
But, yeah, no. I mean, Charlie Oliver, they talk behind the scenes 365, 100%.
No doubt.
They enter the portal. Majority of the time, they know where they're going.
Except for Nico.
Except for Nico.
They thought for sure Tennessee was going to play ball.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking at the way that the situation was handled, who do you expect to pay the most for him? It's the team that already has him. It would only be a $1 million bump to keep him versus another school having to flush out $4 million in new money.
Yeah, that money's not allocated yet.
You know?
Like, Tennessee had that contract set aside, and there's also teams that will also come out and be like, I didn't get paid.
Right.
Like, that's going to be another part of this whole thing where it's like, hey, we were promised, and you've seen it happen already, where it's like, I was promised a certain amount of money and it didn't come to fruition. Like, I'm leaving. And the more you need to negotiate, the more you need to negotiate in good faith if you're going to come to a deal.
Right.
Like, you saw it happen in Florida. You saw it happen with quarterbacks already, where we have a $15 million deal in place with, was it Jalen Rashada?
Uh-huh.
And then he's suing the school because, like, you don't have, this is fake money. You don't actually have it. And so that was the first kind of opening of this whole thing where you saw Rashada go from Arizona State to maybe Florida. Now he's at Georgia. And he's not the starter. It's the 35-year-old man.
Yeah, and is he back in the portal?
I think so.
Yeah, like there's been more situations like this that have gone wrong than gone right. And we'll see which direction this one with Nico goes. Because it's going to be a tipping point in one direction or the other. If he goes out and he gets $4 million from another program, it's only going to make these occurrences more common. Yeah. Like, why would
this is a test case?
Why would another player not look at it and be like, well, I'm going to do the same thing? Like, I feel like I'm worth more than my $1 million. So I'm going to go I'm going to bargain myself and negotiate the same way. But he also could, on the flip side, coaches could make a stand and say, we're not going to bump your pay. If you want to play here, it's going to be for what we can afford. And that's where it goes. Like, it's going to be a tipping point in one direction or the other. So we'll see which direction it goes. But don't expect this to be the final situation of this liking. But speaking of spring portal window, we'll see what LSU goes out and gets. Do you expect, Lloyd, LSU to go make any moves?
It depends on what's out there. Because while the Nico situation is taking the world by storm, there's other players that are looking around going, I'm good enough. I don't know if I'll field offers.
Yeah.
And LSU has proven to be in the game. I don't know what position they don't need a wide receiver. They've hit that.
They don't need quarterback.
If you have a Caleb Downs situation, I think LSU would be in.
Yeah, I don't. From what I've seen, names in the portal, I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, but it hasn't started yet in terms of what we know.
Right.
But would you say safety?
Safety is probably like, if you're just talking
line?
about depth spot, it would be safety, and then offensive line from an experience. So those are the two. Outside of that, I think you're relatively in a good spot. Defensive line, I think you're in a good place. Linebacker, you're in a really good place.
Yeah.
Corner, I think you're in a good place. Watching Mansour Delane the other day gave me some confidence that they're in a good place at corner. Wide receiver, you're in a great place. Running back, you like what you have. Quarterback, obviously best in the country. Tight end, really good spot.
Yeah.
Like, go down the list.
Safety
and offensive line.
and maybe some depth on the D-line.
Possibly.
But you have Ahmad Bro, Don McKinley, Jacoby and Guillory, and see what happened. I mean, Sadir Mitchell was back at practice.
Yep. He did not do he was not out there for the spring game. He was out there. He was not tatted up and participating in the spring game. But, so, H-Town Creole, Arch Manning has an NIL evaluation of $6.5 million for a second-string quarterback that's never done anything, but Nico is wrong. The NIL evaluations are more than just the school collective money. That brings in like brand deals and all those things. That's all put together into the.
He's got Red Bull money.
And I evaluate like he's got.
And Manning trust fund money.
College football, the video game paid him to make sure he was in it.
Depth at tight end. LSU's fine at tight end.
Yeah, they're really good at tight end. D-line I'll listen to, but tight end they're in a very good spot. Like I mean, maybe if you like you'd want to add a piece just like a sheer depth piece of just in case somebody gets hurt. But that I mean, with Tradez and Bauer Sharp, Donovan Green, you're in a really good spot with those three guys.
LaFleur.
And then you've got J.D. LaFleur coming in out of high school. And you've got what Giovanni Peterson's still in the roster. You've got other, tight ends. Like I think they're good there. D-line I'll listen to. I just think offensive line and safety are the two spots if they were to hit the portal. That's what it would need to be.
Ed Westshed, you're not wrong. I can't wait for somebody to continue to test the waters for why can't I keep playing college football? What's stopping me? Like it said, if I have the ability to make money at a job, and you're prohibiting me for what? People can you can go to college for as long as you want, just not in college football. You say eligibility. Why? They're paying me to be here.
Right.
So you could have Arch Manning for 10 years at Texas. I mean. Gosh. He's not the example, but there's going to be quarterbacks that are, I'm good here. I'm not good enough to play in the NFL, but I'm good enough to play in college.
Yeah, I thought the cat at Oklahoma State was going to push to try. Like, why not? Like, I don't see why he didn't just give it a go, see if they'll keep him. Because I mean, who's going to stop?
Somebody's gonna that's the next step too. After this Nico thing,
everyone's going to start graduating as doctors. All these football players are going to be doctors.
Got a doctorate in football.
Like, yeah. What was our tight end at Miami? McCormick was that his name? Played 9 years, 10 years.
John Emery's going on 7.
Yeah, John Emery's freshman year of college was my senior year of high school.
Look at us now.
I graduated college. Like he's still playing college football.
Come back, John.
More respect to John. I love John to death.
It's
just like that's the example of the timing.
Yeah. Who's the Vandy quarterback?
Diego Pavia.
What is it?
Diego Pavia.
Pavia. Yeah. He was openly negotiating with Vanderbilt, and he got his extra year of eligibility with the. He's the only one that's been able to pull this one off because the Tennessee baseball player is still in the wind on the same ruling, but they won't let him be eligible. But he has been. And then he was like, "Yeah, I'll come back now that I can. If the money's right, I'll go to Vanderbilt or hit the portal."
Yeah.
And Vandy ponied up.
They sure enough did. We have Wilson Alexander joining us at 8:15 this morning, so about 13 minutes. He'll be joining us to talk LSU football, the spring scrimmage, this NIL world, these new additions, all of the above. Wilson will join us to break it all down this morning. Like we said, the news yesterday, David Griffin was fired from the Pelicans. That's a new wrinkle into this New Orleans situation with the Saints and the Pelicans. An additional story yesterday to add to the mismanagement of the franchises in New Orleans. As David Griffin's fired, maybe 2 hours later, Joe Dumars' name is put as expect the deal to be done by the end of the week. Like the job was open for 2 hours officially. Like, yeah, they obviously were having conversations beforehand, but another example of mismanagement as you fire your GM, which was time to do. You get the fan base happy, and then you don't even go through a process of interviews and looking around and seeing what you can find. Instead, you go get Joe Dumars, who's in the NBA front office right now. Like, I think he manages the financial money that has to do with fines and things like, and no disrespect to Joe Dumars, he's a Louisiana basketball legend, McNeese legend, NBA legend. He did a good job in his stint with Detroit. Well, ended up kind of trickling, like he won a championship. He drafted he drafted Milicic over Carmelo Anthony.
That's a fireable offense.
And then you just look at some of these draft picks, like Brandon Knight over Kemba, Clay, and Kawhi, Greg Monroe over Paul George, Austin Day over Drew Holiday and Jeff Teague. Just go to KCP over CJ McCollum and Giannis. And then some of those trades down at the bottom were Brandon Knight and Chris Middleton for Brandon Jennings. Chris Middleton turned into an all-star. You traded Ben Gordon and a first-rounder for Corey Maggette. And with that first round pick ended up being Noah Vonleh. But Corey Maggette ended up playing 18 games for you and then retiring. I don't want to bash Joe Dumars because he is a legend, but it just feels like kind of a move that is moving in the wrong direction. Like, as much as you took a step forward hiring David Griffin, this is not another step forward. Signed Nazir Muhammad to a 5-year, $30 million contract, then traded him. Josh Smith to 4 years, $54. Ben Gordon, a 5-year, $60 million contract. And then with that, in that 4-year contract with Josh Smith, he was waived early in the second year.
Look at the coaching hires. Mo Cheeks. Lawrence Frank.
57 and 107.
John Keister. Flip Saunders.
He fired him.
Fired him. He was the only good coach you had.
176 and 70.
He'll probably come back.
And so, to me, this is another example of the powers to be in New Orleans when it comes to professional franchises. I don't have a problem with the name, with the Joe Dumars thought, but to not even go out and look for anything else. For the job to not even be on the open market for anything longer than 2 hours. Bob Myers is not working anywhere. He's on the table at TNT. Does everyone know who Bob Myers is?
Architect of Golden State.
He's the guy that built the latest dynasty in the NBA. Who stepped away from it. Now, would he take the Pelicans job? I don't know. But she didn't even try. And put that in addition to the way the things have been handled down the street with the Saints, where you had Derek Carr get his contract restructured, and now he's going to sit out the whole year with some apparent shoulder injury. These two professional franchises are being held hostage. I'm not saying Joe Dumars isn't shouldn't be the guy or whatever. I'm not in the position to make that it doesn't feel like a 2025 hire.
Mm-mm.
A
retread.
The point where you're at, if you're the Pelicans, would be fire David Griffin and just get new life, new breath. You need something new. Dumars, it doesn't feel new. As much as I have respect for Joe, Joe Dumars is a legend, an absolute legend. But he got pushed out of Detroit the last time he was a GM. And that's the only place he maybe has as much goodwill as he does in Louisiana.
Yeah. And Charles County matters. I know his name was floated but not hired, but it does feel like that it's been more than floated.
The report was put out that a deal was expected. I hope the deal isn't done. And that's not because it's Joe Dumars. That's just because you don't want your job to only be open for 1 week and hire the first name. When they hired Willie Green, he was the 5th or 6th option. So they at least went out there, tested the waters, tried different things, and they weren't able to get him, and they got the guy that was there, their fifth option. Yeah. They're not even attempting to not even give Bob Myers a call is like
criminal.
What are we doing? At least give him a call.
And this is per Sam Quinn of CBS Sports. The Pelicans have a replacement in mind for Griffin. Joe Dumars, the NBA Executive of the Year in 2003, and a Louisiana native is reportedly the front runner to land the gig. The two sides are expected to finalize the deal by the end of the week.
Yeah, so, I mean, expected to finalize the deal by then. Like, it feels
imminent.
Like it's going to happen. And to me, this is just once again, these two franchises are being held hostage. Like, not being allowed to move forward and grow and prosper. And if Joe Dumars comes in and solves the problems and has a good relationship with Zion and all these things, but I just don't see that happening.
Why would you have any faith in whatever move that Gail Benson makes at this point?
You shouldn't. I mean, they're about to pay Derek Carr $40 million
to leave
this season to do nothing, to review cars in California. Did you see that video? He's in, him and his brother did
his brother's a real.
They did like a used car review because
he is a used car.
That's why he did it. It was kind of a petty diss back. But
he's a lemon.
Seville Jr. 2003 was a long time ago. Yeah, I was 1. I'm 22.
Rasheed Wallace ain't walking through that door.
Rip
Hamilton ain't walking through that door.
It's a new
Mr. Big Shot ain't walking through that door.
It's a new era of the sport. Basketball isn't what it was in 2003. The NBA is not what it was in 2003. The money is not what it was in 2003. College sports are not what they were in 2003. I'm pretty sure you could draft a player out of high school in 2003, right?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't it happen?
Oh, yeah.
That draft?
Pretty good.
Yeah. And who did the Pistons take after him?
Not
Darko Milicic?
The MMA fighter?
With Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh on the board? You could have took Kirk Heinrich and it would have been a better pick. But it's just
what did Carmelo do? Oh, just freshman year won a national championship and averaged 24 points in the tournament.
I mean, Dwayne Wade brought an NBA championship to Miami in 3 years.
Pretty good Marquette run.
So to me, it's just the Pelicans needed a step forward. And they took the first one. Like, they put their left foot down when they fired David Griffin. And you thought the next step was going to be a move on Willie Green or going out there shopping the job around. But they didn't do that. They have the guy in mind. They're not even going to offer it to anybody else, it looks like. How is that good business? That's where I have my issue. Is from overall overarching with the Saints and the Pelicans is how they don't do good business ever. Nothing they do is right. Staba 07, what's the motivation for the Pels or the Saints to do anything different? If they suck, they're still worth billions. The money is no longer tied to winning. Yeah, that's what sucks. But they're getting to a point where the fan base for both sides should stop giving them their money. No more season tickets. Stop buying the merch. As much as, that's just the point where it is, because if that's why they're going to keep doing things this way, something's got to change, because it's embarrassing. Just from a public even a PR standpoint, it's embarrassing. The way this Derek Carr situation's been handled, embarrassing. You need to release him yesterday. You're going to have to pay him the money regardless, so just get him out of here. Get him away from the team. With the Pelicans, just go and offer the job out and see what you can get. See what you can do. See who you can find. Bring some life to your franchise. I digress. We'll get back to the LSU football talk with Wilson Alexander at 8:15. He'll be joining us. So we'll take a quick break, get that set up, and we'll be right back with Wilson from The Advocate to talk about LSU football, the current state of the program, the current state of college football as well.
Red Stick Sports.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Well, the Oscar Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, helping you with your home, auto, commercial, life and health insurance needs. Around in Baton Rouge at 4275 Government Street and online at FourierAgency.com.
Hey, Tiger fans, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit us, Tom and Wright Granning, at Go Mart on the Go Deli.
Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip.
Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on your left.
Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff,
where everyone is family.
All right, we are back rolling through hour number 2 here on this Tuesday morning, getting back to the LSU football conversation as we have Wilson Alexander of The Advocate joining us to talk about the Tigers and this past weekend, as well as some of the moves that were made. Wilson, thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, y'all. How you doing?
Doing good. We're doing good. We appreciate your time joining us this morning. Some news yesterday for LSU that we'll start with just to, open it up as they hire Eric Held as their director of high school relations, and they also bring in Jay Shadari from Ole Miss as the associate director of player personnel. Can you just let everybody know kind of what those moves entail, who kind of the background of those people, and kind of what that means for LSU?
Yeah, so we'll start with Jay. I mean, he is somebody who was with Austin Thomas hired him at Ole Miss a few years ago. And so now they're bringing him, down to LSU as the associate director of player personnel. He'll work on that sort of front office staff, it's basically what it is now. And what's interesting, they're kind of like almost getting the band back together because, Austin, Preston Tiffany, who's LSU's director of player personnel, and Jai all were together at Ole Miss. So, just sort of somebody who knows Austin's system. He'll be, really involved in advanced scouting and kind of as an NFL liaison. And so, that's one addition to the staff here. And then with Eric, he kind of basically, I think, replaces what Nick Brosette was doing as the sort of high school relations there. And it makes a lot of sense that, to hire Eric for that role because he was the director of the Louisiana High School Coaches Association for the LHSAA. And so his ties throughout the state are deep and numerous. I mean, he knows he's been working with high school coaches throughout the state for a while now. And so, two additions to the staff. LSU's kind of made a fair number of off-field staff changes this year, and those are sort of the latest two additions.
Yeah, and on the discussion of Jay Shadary as they grow that player personnel general manager type room from that standpoint, the Nico conversation is one that I want to get your thoughts on with just kind of this NIL world as, the first official, public holdout by a player ahead of, during spring practices. Just kind of your thoughts on that situation and what these moves by LSU mean in this new day and age.
I guess for what they mean for LSU, with Jay, I mean, it's just adding to the, sort of to the front office, to the player personnel department. And I don't know that that's like really even in, I guess it's sort of emblematic of where we are in college football, that you would want to continue to strengthen your front office and sort of your player personnel staff. Because now they've got, Preston, Jay, and Carl St. Cyr, who's been at LSU now for a while, kind of all in that group, and all sort of working underneath Austin. And so, I guess that I don't know that that's necessarily like a direct correlation with where we are in college football, but it is, I guess, maybe somewhat of a reflection of where we are in terms of wanting to have more people involved in that. And then with Nico, I mean, it's pretty it's just pretty surprising, that you would it's interesting that, he tried to make a leverage play, or maybe his camp tried to make a leverage play, and Tennessee didn't bite. And, so now Tennessee's in a fascinating spot because, they got to go get a quarterback out of the portal. Josh Heupel already said that they would. They only have 2 on the roster. And so, who are they going to get? Because that's going to be the most attractive destination. But also with Nico, it just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to the timing of it. Who's going to give you, you're asking for $4 million according to ESPN. Who's going to come out and give you that when you threw 19 touchdowns last year, and now you, as a quarterback, have handled a situation this way? It's like, can you really get whatever team you're next to the promised land? What kind of leader are you if this is kind of how this is going to go? Right. And so, it's fascinating that it played out the way it did. It probably won't be the last time that something like that happens.
LSU had their spring scrimmage, open practice, spring game, whatever you want to call it, on Saturday.
Autograph signing.
Yeah, autograph signing, picture day.
Picture day.
Yeah.
You were there. You were in attendance. What were some of your key takeaways from that on Saturday?
The edge rushers were the first thing that stood out to me. Those guys looked good. They were disruptive. And it was good to see sort of that because LSU brought in, those 3 transfers here in the offseason. And 2 of them really popped with Jamari Butler and Jack Pyburn making a bunch of plays. Pyburn had a sack on the last play of the scrimmage, again, part of the practice. And or at least would have. Garrett Nussmeier was like, I could have gotten out of it. I don't know. But the and then Relaford, too, was a big part of that. We haven't really seen much out of Patrick Payton. But it's spring practice, so, is what it is. Those other 3, really impressed. And then it's just, it seems like we're still just a long way off from, figuring out the offensive line. And then Brian Kelly said that they really wouldn't do so until probably midway through camp in August. So it's like, okay, well, at least now it's like that there's a timeline that everybody can try to follow and see, like, okay, by practice 8 in August, let's start to really look up and see if that thing is settled. Those are probably the two things that stood out to me the most. But there's a lot of other individual plays too. Barry Brown looked really good. I've been high on him all offseason. I think he's going to have a great year. So the punter, Grant Chadwick, it's a little thing that you may not think about as much, but I think he could make a difference too after what LSU's punting was last year. So those are some of the things that stood out, but I'm sure we can get into more of it.
Whenever you say that, obviously the defensive line popped, and that's been like the sentiment around after the game. Can I play devil's advocate? Like, was it more the defensive line being good, or do you have a problem on the offensive line?
I think that is a legitimate concern as well. I mean, because your offensive tackles that we've seen here throughout the spring, the only two who have been getting first-team reps from what we've been able to see have been Tyree Adams and Weston Davis. And we know these are both going to be first-time starters if they do win the job. And, Tyree's got a little bit more experience just because he's older. We saw him go through the bowl game, and he did okay. So I think it's maybe more of a question of, is Weston ready to step in? Talking to some people around the program earlier this spring, they said he'd been kind of inconsistent, which they sort of expected because he's a redshirt freshman. I don't know. I'm wondering if LSU might want to go after an offensive tackle in the portal in the second time around here in the spring, just because, do you want to make sure that you have done your due diligence to that position, but also then are you like who's going to be the right fit to come in and do that? Is kind of tough to sort through. I mean, Josh Thompson could maybe end up playing there if Weston doesn't sort of show up and be that guy. But yeah, I think that could be part of that concern, because that's always what you see in the offseason is, well, one position looked great, but does that mean the other one isn't any good or something like that? And so I think that could be a cause for concern, but sort of too early to know for sure. And I guess maybe if LSU thinks that it is, we'll see them probably try to do something in the portal. I think that's probably how we'll know whether or not they think it is if they go after, it's an offensive tackle here in the portal. But I don't, we'll see who's available. But it's going to be costly, as we know, in the spring.
Another position group, the defensive backfield. As much of the conversation has been about that front for the LSU defense, but there are a lot of new faces in the cornerback position, the safety position, all the above. What were kind of your takeaways from that group on Saturday?
Well, it certainly seems like Mansour Delane is going to be a starter. And, right now it looks like at cornerback. That feels like somebody you can pencil into the lineup. That other cornerback spot seems still completely wide open. I mean, PJ Woodland got a ton of playing time there on Saturday and made that great diving interception in 7-on-7. Michael Turner seems like he's put himself in the mix as part of the two deep. I don't think that he'll be a starter, but as somebody who could is continuing to develop and show what he can do, because he got a lot of playing time with the twos. Obviously, we know DJ Pickett is in that mix, but again, he was mostly with the backups on Saturday. We didn't see anything out of Jakeem Jackson on Saturday. He was dressed out, but I don't think he practiced. And so he's somebody who's been getting a lot of reps with the first team. And then Ashton Stamps continues to get reps with the first team. So it just feels like there's a competition opposite of Mansour that he's probably going to be a starter, unless LSU then wants him to play something else, be the nickel or maybe even a safety or something. But right now it seems like he is heading in that direction. And then at safety play, I mean, Cooley's been out there a bunch. I would expect him to probably be a starter. And then Toviano is the other one who got a lot of work with the first team defense there on Saturday. So it seems like he's made a move toward maybe trying to get a starting spot. But we also know that that's going to be a competition that has to take place in August, because Jordan Gilbert hasn't been out there in the spring. So it's also really hard to know if the safety play is better or not. And that's really what matters is, okay, who's going to start, but is it any better? And it's hard to know in the spring. The coaches, talking to them, say they've seen better tackling, better pursuit angles. We'll have to see in August, and have to see in September to see if that really plays out. Another position where I'll be curious to see if LSU tries to go after and get another safety in the portal window.
Yeah, last one on Saturday. The LSU offense, the first-team offense, did not move the ball particularly well. Some of those issues, obviously, because of the offensive line and those edge rushers. Were there any other things that kind of concerned you watching the first-team offense on Saturday?
Yeah, it was concerning to me a little bit, just because like, oh, you would expect maybe with a returning starting quarterback this thing to be clicking more,
Right.
but it also seemed like the timing was just off on some things, and it was just out of sync. I mean, even like 7-on-7, where you didn't have the edge rusher pressure. Maybe it was that the corners and such were doing a good job of coverage, but also the receivers weren't necessarily getting open, and Garrett was kind of double clutching and maybe not sort of hitting his drop at the right time and releasing. It feels like maybe we've got all these new wide receivers here. That timing just needs to continue to get worked on in the offseason is probably what my takeaway would be from that, because we know that there's talent. We've seen that from Garrett, from the wide receiver position, even in glimpses from what they added here in the offseason with Barry and Brown and Nick Anderson, even though we haven't seen as much out of Nick Anderson in the spring. So it's like, okay, these guys are talented. They just all need to get on the same page. And it feels like if they can do that, then the offense will probably be okay, as long as the offensive line can provide enough time. It just felt like everything was out of sync, and maybe that's just a one-day, one-off type deal. But it was a little bit of a like, well, okay, you clearly got a lot of work to do here between now and the Clemson game.
And then Brian Kelly commented after the spring practice talking about potentially having a local, another Louisiana school coming in and doing kind of a joint practice. In your opinion, how likely is that to actually come to fruition over the next couple of off seasons?
Over the next couple of off seasons, I mean, maybe it's possible. Like, if it's going to happen next year, well, obviously the NCAA rules would have to change anyway.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen within a year? I don't know. If the NCAA rules change, then we could actually see it happen. It's just a matter of whether or not another school is interested in doing that too. I would have to think that somebody would be at least willing to consider it. But if LSU already is open to the idea, then that's certainly a big piece of it. And so, on a scale of 1 to 10, let's put it at like a 5 within the next 3 to 5 years. Because if you have interest from the LSU side, then it certainly helps a lot. You just got to get one other school to want to do it, and I feel like there would be interest if the NCAA rules change.
Yeah, I mean, it would make our job easier because then we wouldn't have to figure out if the edge rushers look good or the offensive line looks bad.
Yeah, it'd be helpful for everybody. I mean, you get a better sense of your team if they're going up against somebody else. So for the coaches, I would think that you would like it. Obviously, the one thing that there would be like some injury concern.
Right.
But like you're going to have injury concern in the course of a normal practice anyway. So I feel like it's something that could be beneficial to replace this spring event game autograph signing with another team, and then do the autograph signing afterward anyway.
Yeah. What were you? If they were able to do that, would the spring portal window, that kind of conversation come back up of why would we go practice against LSU if we're a smaller school and let them get a look at some of our our talent?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think that maybe something that would have to happen is some changes to the portal window, which are already kind of being discussed. I mean, Brian Kelly talked about that with me earlier in the year, and it's something that college coaches have been discussing, is trying to push for a change to the recruiting calendar as a whole, the college football calendar as a whole, because it's not working very well. And so one of the things the coaches want to do, at least according to Brian Kelly, is just have like one portal window. And this came out of the AFCA convention in January. One portal window at some point kind of in the spring instead of what they've got going on in December. Or maybe you have the one kind of in December and you don't have it in the spring. But basically just at least reducing that. I don't know that they're going to be able to put the genie back in the bottle. Is the NCAA going to be able to kind of come down with that rule and then not instantly get hit with litigation? That might depend on the results of the House settlement. So there's a lot of sort of questions and lead off, things that could trigger something else. We'll see. Because I mean, those are all things that kind of have to play out down the road. And the other thing would be, what was I going to say? One of the things that Kelly was maybe wanting to see instead of maybe even just spring practice was NFL-style OTAs. I guess you wouldn't really do joint ones of those with another team. And that would also maybe even be a little bit more in the summer than here, right in the middle of the spring. And so there's a lot of kind of just things up in the air, and a lot of things would probably have to happen to get to that point where they actually do have joint practices. There would certainly be a lot of considerations made there, but I still feel like it's something that if the rules allowed for it, and if we're kind of in the same structure that we're in now with spring practice, instead of having like summer OTAs, then we could see a joint practice at some point.
Well, we appreciate your time this morning, joining us and all the insight, of course. And we'll talk soon. Have a great day.
Y'all too. I guess we didn't have time for the game today.
Oh, I didn't know if you wanted to do it or not. I didn't know if you were scared, Wilson. If we could pull it up real quick.
Actually, that would probably take way too much time because y'all know I'm not very good at it. So
next time we're doing it.
That's how we'll open it
I'll
up.
have to practice. All right, y'all. Have a
I
good one.
appreciate it. Great stuff, great insight.
Open door
of
for the
course.
Wordle.
The
I
Wordle
love
brought
that.
back up. That was even in my message whenever I reached out to him about coming on. I was like, look, we won't play the game, I promise. We just really want your information. But great insight, of course. It would be awesome to see the joint practices. That would be
just the competition of it.
awesome.
Yeah, because this, you really can't get as much as big of a fan as I am of the spring game. What this was not even less of a spring game. And so there's two sides of it where you can really get an amount of competition that Brian Kelly is in the camp for, that other coaches want, and they're just being told no.
Well, and think about the struggles. The reason why Kelly's open to it is because it puts you in a real good spot for week one.
Yeah. There's your spring game. There's your opener.
Yeah, there's your season. There's your week 0 game. All this conversation about LSU struggling in week 1 games. Can you change the opponent? Do you need a week 0? Blah, blah, blah. Well, it would put you in a real good spot to know what you have if you got to do a joint practice in the spring window. And it'd be really good going into the spring portal of okay, these safeties really aren't.
Yeah, it's hard to
We really
tell.
need a tackle.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what you have because, look, you did all of this work in the portal, and it's not surprising to hear that the timing may be a little bit off. They haven't worked together yet. To have Destin Hill, Berrien Brown,
right.
all of these Nick Anderson, Bauer Sharp, all of these new weapons that you added, that's going to take time, and that's where you have to put your faith in Garrett Nussmeier and Sloan, but certainly Nussmeier to be able to be a leader and do what everybody goes back to 2019, and they were running – Joe Burrow was running practices with no coaches there, and it was all in an effort to get timing down and to get better. You have to have that amount of buy-in to be able to go where LSU fans and LSU probably expects to go, which is the college football playoff.
Right.
Where
LSU has to go.
There's no excuse.
No.
And as hard as it is to get your timing down and to get better, that's what you went out and did. You added new players. You have to be able to work with them.
Yeah, that's part of this new era is you have to – not only do you need to get them here, they're not just going to show up and be ready to go. You gotta mesh everyone together and get everybody on the same timing and the same rhythm and get in the same flow. And that's where LSU's at right now. They were not in the same flow on Saturday. And I was glad we got Wilson to touch on that because 100%, they were not in the same rhythm at all. Things were off. I remember vividly one time, I think it was Aaron Anderson or Xavion Thomas maybe across the back of the end zone, and Nussmeier was just a beat off.
Mm-hmm.
I think just kind of all the changes had him kind of mixed up, and he just kind of threw it, right over his head, and it was kind of behind. He was just a step while they weren't in the real flow of it. And so that's something that has to get solved. And I expect it to look a whole lot different in August when we get ready for fall camp. But we will have some practice video put out to you guys today on the YouTube channel as Christian is out there right now with the camera, getting it all videoed and filmed. And we'll have that edited and put out to you guys. And we'll also have the latest episode of Rally Time will get put out today.
Oh.
Justin and Christian talking about this past weekend. Justin had a whole lot of thoughts on this past weekend, of course, as LSU got swept by Auburn. Justin he has a little Facebook group for LSU Sports. I saw Carl Dunn over there getting into the post-game mix with him as Justin did a post-game show there after all 3 games. And then he breaks it all down on Rally Time. That'll be put out on the YouTube channel as well today ahead of tonight's matchup with McNeese.
Oh.
We haven't really touched on too much, but this is a sneaky one, guys. It's a little sneaky as McNeese is 27-5.
14-4 in the Southland.
Yeah, and I think are they in the top 25?
receiving votes.
They're receiving votes, which is worth something.
12 straight wins, including including a sweep of Incarnate Word.
Streaking.
But they are no slouch, and we talked about this last night with Mike Dubb, as we were saying, it's almost better to play a competent midweek game because of what just happened to you, like a get tested, be able to return home back in the box, where you have, I think, 9 straight games, which will be, it's exactly what LSU needs, is to get back in the box and be able to play in front of your home crowd. But facing a team that can still test you to where you can't continue to sleepwalk like you did against Auburn and get your offense back right. And Jay talked about it a little bit, where he had quotes saying, "Look, I don't expect the offense to do that very often." I mean, it's clear that you can point to one thing as to why LSU got swept. You didn't put any runs up. Like, the numbers that bared out are something that just it's an anomaly. It's easy to, kind of, I guess, have your panic moment or whatever, freak out. But that's the amount of runners that LSU left on base. What they did over the weekend is not something that you can really, I don't think you could duplicate that again. What did go wrong went wrong. It was something that I don't think the LSU offense is going to do again. But you go against a McNeese pitching staff that has a cumulative ERA of 3.9, 307 strikeouts and 270 innings. Teams are batting .252 against them, and they've only allowed 19 homers this year. So LSU will be tested. I'm interested to see who they put on the mound, and I would not be surprised if it's one William Schmidt to be able to get right, be able to pitch again as he's kind of works as this midweek de facto starter, and it gets 3 innings of work, and it's still available on the weekend. But I think this is another good test for him, as you kind of want to see him take over some role on the weekend. But to go against them, like I said, a McNeese team that's 27-5 and won 12 straight, this is going to be, it's good for LSU.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good spot. As much as it is a upset watch, this is good for LSU. They need this, and I expect them to go out there.
My goodness.
I expect them to go out there and get back into rhythm, because that's what they need more than anything. In rhythm against a good opponent, because really last week it wasn't their weekend. And even if you look at the Nichols game, it just wasn't.
Yeah, they're in a bit of a schneid, and this happens during baseball season. You're not going to win all 56, but you certainly don't want to lose 4 in a row. But I mean, to bear down some of the numbers that happened over the weekend that I don't expect to see. From the weekend, LSU struck out 24 times, 12 times on Friday against I don't know who that person was on the mound. Sammy Dutton was that's not the real one. That man was possessed. LSU left 26 runners on base. Your big three, Curiel, Jones, and Dickinson, 8 for 42 on the weekend. On Sunday, Auburn tried to give you a baseball game. They walked 7 people, hit 2, so that's 9 free passes. LSU scored 2 runs. Jared Jones over the weekend, this is the big catalyst of your offense. 1 for 13 with 6 strikeouts. He reverted back to the old free swinging Jared Jones. We need to put that back in the box and get back to being
just pressing a little bit.
Yeah, what you've done. And that's it. He'll go through stretches like that because of his ability to change the game. And whenever you see your offense struggling, he wants to try to fix it with one swing. And he was 1 for 13 with 6 strikeouts. So I expect that to change. Ethan Fry, midweek god, 0 for 7 with 2 strikeouts over the weekend. So I expect him to get back to form. Luis Hernandez, somebody that's been picking it up recently, has been what you thought this offense was scary, 1 through 9. 1 for 9 with 4 strikeouts. Those 3 combined 2 for 29 with 12 strikeouts. For the weekend, LSU was 3 for 27 with runners in scoring position and left 26 people on base. 6 extra base hits all weekend. That's not a Jay Johnson
No
offense.
bueno. Yeah, that's no bueno.
And you still almost won.
Yeah, I mean, you were still in those baseball games. I mean, Friday night a little different.
And 4-2, and then Friday night doesn't count.
But you still had opportunities on Friday to very well be in that.
It'll be nice.
That 4th inning haunts me.
It'll be nice to get back to the box after playing in that rinky-dink, fake green monster with the I don't know who built that stadium.
You're going from the Porta Johns to that green monster. Just get back to
home,
to true college baseball in Alec Box Stadium.
So I expect but I do think this game will be a lot of eyeballs.
Oh yeah,
I think that people will be watching a little bit through it with one eye open, just to kind of see if they're ready to jump off the bridge yet. But I think LSU is due for a good little bounce back spot, get a dub, and then get ready for an Alabama team that is also scuffling.
Yeah, it's going to be two teams that really want to win this weekend.
Because you do need to start. That's why you're thankful for the sweeps that you have put up. I don't think anybody expected a sweep by Auburn at Auburn. You wanted to get at least one, but you put yourself in a good enough spot to where you can afford at least that to happen one time. But you still need to get back in your winning ways, because this is a team that I think people expect to host, not only a regional, but to be a top 8 seed. And if you can take out well, first of all, get your win versus McNeese. But if you can get your series right and go 2 of 3 against Alabama and kind of put yourself back in that conversation, I think it would do wonders for an LSU baseball team that plays well at home.
Yep.
And they deserve it up to this point.
Yes.
You haven't seen the Tigers act back in the box since, 2023 when they hosted a regional, super regional?
Yep, I think.
And last year, 1 pitch away from having a super regional.
Super regional. 1 pitch.
That is a far cry from where we are right now.
Right.
As you have, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas?
Maybe Alabama, Tennessee, A&M.
A&M, and then Arkansas. Yeah, because you have both Alabama, Tennessee at home, and then, so it's 7 straight. And then you go to A&M and an A&M team that figured it out all of a sudden.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're a really good baseball team.
And then you have, I believe, Arkansas after that back in the box. So you have the 3 biggest series of the year, all 3 at home.
Yep. So we'll take a quick break here, set up the end of the show, close it out with a little.
Should we do Sporkle?
Connections and Sporkle?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right, so we'll take a quick break. We'll get that set up. We'll be right back to close it out this morning.
We know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Click Here Digital, the home of the Jordy Culotta Show. Online at clickheredigital.com. If you're looking to set Google ads, set social media campaigns, learn about SEO, display video, or even creative, Click Here Digital has the answer for you. Online at clickheredigital.com or email me directly, Jordy at clickheredigital.com.
Family calls family. That saying resonates even more as your family grows. And we can't seem to stop growing. Meet the newest member of the Get Gordon family, Penny's cousin Rosie. Rosie already knows, the larger your family, the more people you have to lift you up during trying times. Just like at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, we've grown to over 200 team members with over 50 local attorneys. So whether you pick Penny, employ Ellie, roll with Rosie, or Get Gordon, we want to be your lawyers for life.
Your lawyers for life.
Phil's Oyster Bar, a staple of South Louisiana since 1945, located in Southdowns Shopping Center and online at philsoysterbar.com. If you log online, you can learn about the private party schedule, the catering menu, and even order online. Daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Learn about the history when Gus Piazza took it over in the early 70s, made it an absolute stop-in for everyone who came through Baton Rouge, and now Anthony, his son, carrying on the tradition. Phil's Oyster Bar, Southdown Shopping Center, and online, philsoysterbar.com.
It's rare to find someone you can count on when it's go time. It's even more rare to find someone you can count on, well, all the time. At Sunshine, we're proud to offer the John Deere equipment you need and the team can defend on and off the field. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Winners. I took a break for a minute, I had to go charge up. Had to focus on my business, I'm coming back smarter. Hit up DJ, tell him go like I'm dropping the Carter. Coming back like KD, it's time to go harder. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. They say that life's a marathon, man, shout out to Nip. They start to think you falling off and they starting to flip.
Whatever you want, dude.
We're back here on this Tuesday morning.
Game show contestant.
As we're closing out here, the Jordy Culotta Show. We're going to do a little athletic connection here this morning. Some Sporkle. We're going to close it out here. We're closing out hour number 2 here on this Tuesday. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I wish this thing would just stand up without me holding it. But
no, you put yourself in this
position. I did this to myself. That's okay. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us this morning.
Mikey's going to be so jealous. Standing
I'm
up.
standing?
Yeah.
Oh, am I stealing his thing?
No, he only does it for like 30 seconds.
Well, I'm going to do it for a
maybe
minute.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe 10.
Yeah, flex a little bit.
I kind of want to stand up too. But
Dude, get up here.
No, we're good over here.
It's all right. All right, here we go.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Let me get my real bump music out. Because if I listen to Cordell, I get you fired up. Create four groups of 4.
All right. Flush, pair, straight, full house.
What do you think those are?
Bow. That's poker, baby.
That's poker, baby.
That's poker, baby.
Oh, I hardly know her.
Good one. Let's see. Direct and indirect.
These are soccer shots.
Okay. Boom. I don't know what that red and yellow logo is.
That is soccer also. That would be Manchester United.
Okay.
What is...
What conference are...
Oh, Devils.
Who else is there? New Jersey
Devils.
Are they the Devils?
Minnesota...
Gophers?
Golden Gophers.
Indiana Hoosiers. Dallas... What else would be who else is a Devil?
That's what I'm saying. That's what they are. These
It's definitely the Devils. Brian Burgess says New Jersey. Or Dallas, New Jersey, Minnesota, Indiana.
What?
No. Biga says Indiana flush indirect menu.
Nobody's helping?
No.
Dallas, New Jersey, Minnesota, Indiana. What would that be, Brian Burgess?
It's definitely the Devils. It's got to be.
Yeah. I don't know what Manchester...
Who else is a Devil?
Minnesota Twins.
Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
Minnesota Timberwolves.
That's scary-ish.
Dallas Stars. Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Carter.
Indiana Hoosiers, Indiana Pacers, Indiana. They're saying it's Manchester, so we just have to try it. There we go. Dallas, Boston, Minnesota, Indiana.
Basketball is
I
my
guess.
favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court.
NBA teams in last year's conference finals. Fair enough. Good job, guys. Let's do a Sporkle. Let's do something else. There's ASU, New Jersey, Duke, Lucifer, Nick Saban. We're getting ready for the Sporkle here. Great job, guys, everybody in the chat.
Love the chat.
Andrew Messina said Jerry Jones may have sold his soul to the devil. That's for sure. That's why he has to eat all that salt on his McGriddles.
He's a skeevy little pervert.
8 inches, that one over there.
All right, Jamie Foxx.
Let's get off live, maybe. Let's turn this off. I kind of like standing up.
Yeah.
It's good for my back, you know. Struggle sitting down. That's why I have this pillow in this chair.
You're an old man.
Got my old back.
Keyboard enabled.
Stan Lee. We
Stan
did this
Lee,
one
big
already.
Sasha Grey fan.
We did this one already.
Oh.
Because we did. I remember,
Like it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Let's see. Which number was that? 87? Let's do 121.
I forgot to give Christian the SD card adapter for his laptop, so I'm shipping him off to the library to go use their computers.
Tough day for him.
Tough day for Christian, man. Maybe his girlfriend will break up with him next.
That would be great.
Be awesome. Good for us.
So I'm shipping him off.
The first woman to pilot across the Atlantic Ocean. Helen Keller.
Helen Keller.
What, Amelia Earhart? Didn't she?
Yeah, she just never made it back.
She didn't make it back.
Oh, whoops, 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 whoop, 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 whoop. Amelia Earhart.
Was Helen Keller real, yes or no?
No.
Amen, brother.
Good story, though.
I think she was real. I just don't
I mean,
think
she
she
didn't write a book.
No. You taught her the word encyclopedia in her hand? No.
What? Oh, God damn it. You got me thinking. I got Helen Keller
I know,
on
you
the brain.
got Helen Keller on your mind.
So cute.
I got Keller
she
on my
wouldn't
mind.
Is it Earhart? Yeah.
There you
it
go.
is.
Good job.
She never crossed it twice, though.
The two men that have been married to...
I don't know who that is.
Rebecca.
Ramjan.
Don't know her.
3 layers of the skin. Dermis. Epidermis.
Uh-huh. And? Oh, John Stamos.
John Stamos.
Married Rebecca Ramjan.
Oh, man. Yeah, she must be a...
Hypodermis.
Hypodermis. Red. Yellow.
Black.
Black.
Orange. No.
I'm just thinking about their
No,
football
it's-
uniforms. Yellow. Oh.
We already have... Oh, they did gold.
Oh, thank you.
What else is on there? Is there blue? There's not blue in it, is it?
No. Black.
White.
White.
Caucasian.
He's got AIDS.
Black and yellow, black and yellow.
I have most pop-
You know what it is.
6 NFL players who have won multiple Super Bowl MVPs.
Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. John Elway. Oh.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Nope.
Eli Manning. Is it
Eli
Peyton?
Manning. No, you spelled it right. I think Von
Eli
Miller won
Manning.
it that next year.
Steve Young.
Steve Young.
No.
Wow.
Terrell Davis. Did I do John Elway?
Yeah, you
won
did.
2?
You did. Patrick Mahomes.
Terry Bradshaw. Had to have, yeah.
Let's go, Terry. Legend. Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman. We have 6 minutes.
Nope.
What about, who was his little running mate?
Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin.
Emmitt Smith. Ray Lewis.
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. No.
Oh shoot.
Ed Reed.
This 12 Beatles studio albums.
Oh.
The 5 most populated cities in Spain, what? Barcelona? Madrid?
Revolver's not on there? There it is, thank you.
Please Please Me?
Jerry Rice.
A Hard Day's Night. Jerry Rice? No.
Hard Day's Night for sure. Move on. Oh.
Let It Be.
Let It Be.
Abbey Road.
Abbey Road.
EY.
Yes, my bad.
That's all right.
The White Album. Black Album.
Rubber Soul.
Rubber Soul is one. You can never unsee Terry Bradshaw's ass. Sorcerer's Stone.
Yep.
It's a different thing.
That's for Harry Potter.
Sorcerer.
Bart Starr.
Oh, nice.
The Goblet of Fire.
Goblin.
The Goblet of Fire. Prisoners of Azkaban. I think it's a Z. What's another one? The Deathly Hallows.
Yellow Submarine. I thought so too. I think that's just a
It's already
single.
on there.
Oh.
Order of the Phoenix.
Goblet of Fire, we did that. What's the what is the the books?
Half-Blood Prince.
Half-Blood
Yes.
Prince.
You're a wizard, Harry.
We should know these.
I wish Dobby had his own book.
10 Yankees with most career home runs. Hold on, what's the first fucking book? Is it not Sorcerer's Stone?
Chamber of Secrets.
Deathly Hallows Part 1?
No, that's the movie split into two. Chamber of Secrets.
Yes. That man has a face on the back of his head.
The Chamber of Tom Riddle, you mean? The Sorcerer's Stone is definitely one. Is it just the Sorcerer?
No, it's Sorcerer's Stone.
Sorcerer's Stone?
P-Dub,
The
love your
Sorcerer's
impression. Philosopher's Stone?
Thanks, P-Dub. Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, wow. That's a very good Dobby.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Chamber of Secrets.
I work hard
It's
on that,
Azkaban.
It's Azkaban. We have Azkaban, don't we?
Let me,
Oh, well, we spelled it wrong.
I'm copying Kimberly's spelling if it'll
Thank
let
you,
me.
Kimberly.
The prisoner.
Dobby says thank you.
The prisoner of Azkaban.
There we
Yay.
go. Perfect.
We can read. I read these books.
So Yankee, I didn't read the books at all. I watched the movies though.
Oh, that's
Madrid.
That's why you're uneducated.
Barcelona. What else is in Spain?
Colombia.
Colombia.
Chile. I think those are just their own countries. Babe Ruth. Lou
Mickey
Garrett.
Mantle.
I'm just gonna do Mantle.
Aaron Judge.
Alex Rodriguez.
Derek Jeter.
Robinson Cano.
Really?
About to find out.
Nope.
Not Derek Jeter, but we'll try.
Number 2.
Oh.
Derek
All rise.
Jeter.
Aaron Judge is on this list. Ibiza. I took a pill in Ibiza.
I took a pill in Ibiza. Seville?
Help.
Seville.
Help.
Seville?
Carl, help. Please me. Nice. Help. A Hard Day's Night. Love Me Do. Nope.
Reggie, why can't I think of his last name?
Roger Maris.
Roger Clemens. Rocket?
Oh, what about
Reggie
who's
Jackson.
Mr. October? Yeah.
Reggie Jackson, Dave Winfield.
Oh.
What? Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah. Mickey Mantle. Did we do that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Valencia. And Zaragoza.
Mark Teixeira. Everton. Tottenham. We're fucking crushing, boys.
Zaragoza.
Beatles for sale. Beatles are over.
Yogi Berra. Gary Sheffield.
Yogi. Gary Sheffield. Nope. What about Alfonso Soriano? Who is the catcher? Oh, wow.
Oh, shoot.
Posada.
Jorge.
Got one more. Damn. Matsui. At the buzzer. Oh, Hideki.
So Jerry O'Connell got married. Zaragoza and Seville. We had those. Those were in the chat for Spain. So good job, chat. Arsenal, we could have got that. We got the Harry Potter books. Who was the one home runner we were missing?
Let me see. I can move it over here.
Who was our home runner? We crushed that one. That was a good one.
That was a great one.
Was it Bernie Williams?
It probably was Bernie. Fuck. Bernie Williams.
God, we had it in the chat. So we basically beat it. We basically won that.
Rubber Soul. Sergeant Pepper we should have gotten. That's on me, boys. Revolver, Rubber Soul, Beatles for Sale. I did not know that one. We had that. We had Help.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I knew
zero.
None of them.
It's your parents' fault. Abbey Road, we got. Let It Be. We got all of the quarterbacks.
Don't
we would
make
not
it
have
work, please. No.
We got 80%.
Yeah, we crushed the Harry Potter, the quarterbacks. Spain, we did a good deal on.
Yankees, we did a great job
yeah,
on.
we crushed the Yankees. We had good skin.
We had
all the dermises.
We had Zalagoga.
Yeah, we had Seville too. Seville.
All right, y'all enjoy your day.
Yeah, everybody have a great day. Thank you guys for tuning in this morning. Like I said last week, make sure you stay tuned to me and Lloyd's personals. We've got a bunch of things moving and shaking. Some new things coming around the block. So make sure you stay tuned to make sure you know where to find us and all these different things. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 to 9.
But we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard and I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Big step, but we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard, man, I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose.
Joe's over. Go home.
Yeah. I grind for the check. Line up with me, you gon' see how different when I step up on the opponent's necks. Line up with me, you gon' see how different how I'm earning all of my respect. Line up with me, you gon' see how different how I run the game, but don't stretch. My hitters stay with me. Give them nothing, we putting up 60. We got power, you better call 50. Better chill like I reached like Wimby.